Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to TechMaestro. My name is Karan, and in this video, we'll be talking about how to approach questions in an DSA round, and basically what is DSA round, what is expected out of a DSA coding round, why does companies take these rounds. I had this question like from the day I started my software engineering journey. So why companies do DSA round? So we'll cover that. Then how to prepare for it, and then on the D day, how to basically uh, act slash give your interview in the best way possible. So this is what we are going to discuss. Before we do that, first of all, I'd like to tell you, like, according to the data that we have in YouTube from lives and all the recorded sessions, around 80% of the people do not subscribe to the channel. So first of all, my this is my genuine request and advice to please subscribe on the channel so that you appreciate all the effort that I am putting and this entire Tech Maestro community is putting together. So do subscribe to the channel. And okay, let's get started. So first of all, hi Ronak. Hi. If you want to, like, if you are in the video and want to say hi, hello, just drop a chat. We can talk about that as well. So again, we'll start with the session now. So basically, first of all, I want to discuss like what is DSA interview. So DSA basically stands for data structures and algorithm. And coding is basically once you solve a question using data structures and algorithms, you have to write code for it. So this is DSA coding part. And so what happens in a DSA interview slash a coding interview is you are given a problem statement, a coding slash data structure related problem statement, and you have to come up with a solution, problem solution using the data structures like arrays, linked list, stack, queues. There are numerous binary tree, then algorithms like binary search, linear search, sorting, and dynamic programming, to name a few. So you have to come up with a solution to a problem using these things. And so first of all, the first question that always comes to my mind is why is data structure or DSA round why is there a round like DSA or anything in a company when we never actually use that in a real life scenario. And in I think it's a very fair question, and it's a very fair assumption as well. But in my opinion, so there are a couple of reasons that I think, or I can justify I give myself to justify. First of all, so there are thousands of companies, there are thousands of criteria that you guys have or I have. Like, we work on different technologies, we work on different things, frameworks, and lot, right? So there is no common ground where anyone can judge you. So for example, let's say if you are working at, say, Google, and you want to interview for Facebook. So how will Facebook judge you? Because they cannot judge you on something that Facebook is building. Then secondly, they have no capacity to know what you are building at Google, like insider information at Google, and they cannot judge you on that as well. So, and so same with, like, if you are working at Amazon or if you are working at a startup. At a startup, you might be working on technologies like something related to Java, Spring Boot, Drop Wizard, Hibernate, and all. In a new company, let's say Google, you might have to work on C++ or Golang, right? So there is no common ground. DSA coding is very objectified version of a common ground where, okay, this is a question that these are the common things that we have to teach. These are the basic stuff that we need in a everyday life related to coding and all, that you can use. So this is one of the reason that people use or companies have DSA round. Then secondly, it is a very good judge to understand what how deep do you understand in the basics of data structures, because you will be needing all those data structures in your day-to-day life. And a lot of time, believe it or not, like at least in very good companies, you will be working on good algorithms. You will be using good algorithms like binary search, the graph algorithms, like I have personally used topological sorting. I have used multi-knapsack in my actual applications. So you have to use all that in your day-to-day life as well. So it's better if you know these already, or you have knowledge of understanding how to actually use that in real life. That is why these rounds actually happen, and this is what DSA round actually is. Now, second question that or the follow up question that comes to my mind, or like that should be there, is like, what is expected out of a coding round, or what is expected in a interview question, uh, or an interview, DSA interview. So the expectation is, you have been given a question. First of all, a lot of time these questions are abstract. These are not straightforward or direct questions. These are abstract questions or abstract problems, like you will actually face in a day-to-day work situation. So the basic expectation is, you should ask clarifying questions. You should not assume anything, because you don't know what your interviewer is thinking. Or let's say if I am interviewing you and you're there, let's say my question is, what is the time complexity of a binary tree, insertion in a binary tree, or searching in a binary tree. So there is no there is no right or wrong answer. You can say ON, but I might be asking the best case time complexity. I might be asking in a BST. It is also a type of a binary tree. I might be asking something else. So don't assume anything. Ask clarifying questions when the question is ambiguous or abstract. So this is very basic thing that is expected from any interview, be it coding, design, behavioral, anything. Clarify the question. Be on the same page as your interviewer. So the like I said, first expectation is, you ask clarifying question. Then secondly, the expectation is, you should have technical abilities to relate to all the things that you have studied theoretically into an application or into solving a problem. For example, if I am asking you, let's say, find kth largest number, so you should have capacity to understand this is a heap kind of question, or this is a quick select algorithmic question, right? So you should have a understanding of data structures. You should have understanding of how to it, like basic things like how to iterate on array, how to use different data structures, the time complexities of different operation in different data structures. When you have that handy in your along with you, you're able to justify your problem or your answer. Like, okay, this is my answer, this is going to be the time complexity. Okay, now can I optimize this or not? So you should have understanding of how to basically come up with an answer, and then what is the time complexity, and can there exist a better time complexity or not. Then the third is, let's say you have actually solved the problem. Then the third expectation, and the most important expectations in all my experience and all the interviews that I have taken and given, is you should be able to write code for it. What it means is, let's say you have correctly given problem, or by taking hint, or the interviewer actually dictated you the solution. Even after that, you should have a very good coding standard, and you should be able to write code for it. This is really important, and believe it or not, a lot of people fail at this step. They take it for granted. When you prepare, they take it for granted, and people fail at this step. I'll come to this again when I'll discuss like what is production ready code and how do you actually write it. So we'll come to that, and how to practice for it. We'll definitely come to that. Then these are the basic expectations. One is, you should have capacity to cross question the interviewer, like ask clarifying questions. Two, you should have understanding of basic understanding of data structures and algorithms, and knowledge to identify which data structure or algorithm can be used where. Then third, basically ability to write code for whatever the solution that you have discussed with your interviewer. So these are the basic three expectations in an interview. Now, basically, will so a lot of time what happens is, most of the candidates slash most of the people actually know the interview, are very well prepared, or very intelligent, and have all the skills required, but they do not clear the interview, or they not do not perform really good during the interview. So I'll suggest you like how to approach question in an interview, and at the last I'll tell you like what are some common mistakes and tips and tricks to handle that. So first of all, how to approach a question in an interview. So there are two possibilities. When someone give you a question, like I said, first of all, clarify the questions end to end. Write some test cases, understand like, okay, this, if xyz is my input, pqr is my output. So first of all, clarify the question with the interviewer. Even if it is very clear, just uh, double check with your interviewer that this is what you understood and this is what he's expecting. So first of all, clarifying questions. Then two, now there are two possibilities. One, you already know the question or you have already solved the question. Two, you don't know the question. First is a very easy situation and it's a lucky day as well. So if you already know the question, just go with it. I would suggest go with the optimal solution, at least in a good companies, like, because they would be expecting you to solve two questions. So go to the optimal solution, because they know that you have prepared well. They will understand that, interviewer will understand that. So go with the optimal solution. Don't go, okay, I'll tell you brute force, or even if you are telling brute force, just go over it in 1 or 2 minutes at max. So give brute force in 1 or 2 minutes at max, then go directly to the optimal solution and try to actually get it over with within 15-18 minutes, so that you have enough time for the second question in the same interview. Second situation is if you don't know the question. So in this also there are multiple scenarios. First of all, try to relate it with something that you have already solved or you already know. So try to relate it with something. So for, like I said, top k something related to top k. So okay, in top k I will be using heap. So try to there are some standard things. Okay, if the array is sorted, the chances of applying binary search is really high. If it is top k, I'll be using basically I'll be using what heap. Yeah. Then if the array is monotonous, increasing or decreasing, then the chances that you can use two pointers approach is definitely, it's really high. So there are some common patterns that you can use, and I have attached a link to the common 14 patterns in the description below. Common 14 patterns like binary search, advanced binary search and all, DFS, BFS, two pointer, sliding window, then reversing a linked list and all. So there are some common patterns that exist in this coding world. So go read that out properly. Try to solve questions on each and every one, so that you can relate to that in an actual interview. Now, if you don't know the question, first of all, try to relate it to something. If that does not work as well, the second thing that you can do is the method of elimination. What does method of elimination mean? Try to do or try to apply, like I said, there are common 14 patterns. Obviously this is not an 100% extensible list, but this will cover most of the questions. So try to apply one by one. Like for example, let's try to apply two pointer. Will two pointer work? Okay, fail. Next, try to apply sliding window. Will sliding window work? No. Try to apply something else. Like there are common things. Try to apply that. If so, after a while you will know, okay, I have applied five things and these five things does not work. And this is very important for your interviewer as well to know. This is something that interviewer wants to know as well. So this is also very important. Try to apply all that one by one, so that you can at the end there will be a time, like within, and you have to do this very quickly, iteratively and quickly. You can't be like I try to apply two pointer for 15 minutes. That is not going to work. You have to apply that within 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, apply, try to come up with multiple edge cases. Okay, this will work, this will work, this will not work. Next, xyz pqr, work, not work, not work. Next. So this is the method of elimination is very useful, and I genuinely apply this in a lot of interviews when I have to give interviews myself and face a totally new interview, and totally new question. So this is basically this is how you can actually solve. First, one more piece of advice is, please listen to your interviewer. 99.99% of the times, your interviewer will not try to trick you into something. He will try to help you throughout the process. So talk out loud. You would have heard this hundreds of times. I will tell it 10 more times this in this interview. Talk out loud, because your interviewer need to know what you are thinking. even when you have heard hundreds of times, people don't do this in an interview. And this is the first piece of advice that I do, or that I give to all the people I interview, mock interview or anything. This is the first piece of advice that I give to every single person. So talk out loud, involve your interviewer in their thought process so that he can give you free hints as well. A lot of time you will get free hints during this process. So try to listen to your interviewer and try to gather that hint and try to work on that. Most of the time, like I said, 99% of the time your interviewer will not try to trick you. He will try to help you out. So listen to that. So these are the points that I have to approach a question. First of all, if you already know this, just directly jump to the optimal solution. Try to get over it within 15-20 minutes so that you have more time for the second question. If you don't know, try to basically relate it to a well-known pattern or something. If you are able to do that, awesome, you have solved the question, move on. If you are not able to do that, apply the method of elimination, and during this entire phase, try to be very loud, or by very loud I mean think out loud. So think out loud and take interviewers help during the process. They are there to help you out. So I'll try to basically take some questions in the meantime. So Akash says hi. Hi Akash. Hi Shri Lakshmi. Hi Idris. Okay. Ronak asks, can you give an example of clarifying questions? Clarifying questions, like I said, let's say you have been asked, give me the time complexity of deletion from a tree. Now, this is a very, very ambiguous question. Tree. Okay. When it comes to tree, you might be thinking, okay, this person might be asking about binary tree. So often I did the exact same mistake and I got rejected just because of this small mistake in a very good company. So don't do these mistakes. I learned from these mistakes, and that's why I want to advocate or help you people. You don't to not make the same mistakes. So now what you do is you first ask question, okay, what kind of tree is this? Is this a binary tree? Is this a BST? Or is this some other sort of tree, B tree or something else? So what tree is this? Then the second question that you can ask is, okay, I have to delete. Do I have to delete a given key, or do I have to delete one first node, last node? What do I have to delete? So once you have all the questions or all the answers to the question that exist, then give the answer. Like let's say if it was BST and you have to search a key, so searching in BST is login. Okay, now the third question is, can this tree be, is this a BST a balanced tree, or can there be skewed tree? So if still there's a ambiguity, even if it is BST, still there is an ambiguity. So if it is balanced, then it is login. If it is not balanced, then still there is an off and time complexity involved. So do ask these questions before answering anything. Okay. Okay, that's good. Then Aniket asked, full stack versus blockchain, what to learn if I am a final year student and have an offer in hand? Okay, so Aniket will come to that. I think we are going away from the main motive of this interview or this live session. We'll come to that question in the last of the session. Now, let's say you know how to approach. I covered approach first and then preparation, because it's very important to understand the approach and then utilize that in your preparation stage. Now, preparation stage. First of all, if there are multiple stages here, it depends on you, where you are. If you are at a beginning stage, if you are a very absolute beginner who just know how to code basic things, then first of all, learn the basics. Cover your basic uh, algorithms, data structures, and all, and then jump onto something else. Solve easy questions and then jump to medium questions. If you are at an intermediate stage, then what I'll suggest is cover your all the topics very quickly within a month or a two, or maybe not month, within a month or less than a month, and then jump onto the solving questions. And if you are advanced, basically if you are a beginner, come to the advanced stage first, which is get to know each and every data structures, algorithms, and all. If you are intermediate, come to the advanced stage, which is get to know what you don't know so far, understand, learn that, and revise whatever you have learned so far. Now at the advanced stage, that's where you start. So solve mainly medium level questions. Sometimes you have to solve hard questions, but that is very rare. Like very less number of hard questions are required. Mainly medium level questions. Solve lead code medium questions first topic wise, and then once you have covered all the topics, start solving mixed questions so that you can identify the topics, you can identify the questions and all. And now when you have interview, let's say you have Google's interview or Facebook's interview within a month or 3 weeks, that's when you stop topic wise, and that's when you go all in for that company. If it is a big company, then you actually need to go all in. So only solve tagged question for that company first, do top 50, then if you still have time, go for next 50, next 50, next 50. So for top 50, you actually need lead code premium. If you don't have that, I have actually made an entire list of at least around 5 8 companies in the GitHub repository. It is attached below. That GitHub repository contains list of topics, that contains structured course, everything. So go check that out and mark it as star, and do contribute back so that you can actually learn from that as well. So check that GitHub repository out. It contains all the topics, theoretical part, questions part, everything. So that's there. And while I'm there, I'll repeat myself, do subscribe to the channel, because it's very important that I get your support and this entire community get your support, because we put a lot of efforts, not just me, this entire community put a lot of efforts in bringing or collecting all those stuff for you, so that you can succeed in your software engineering journey, be it interview or during your day-to-day job. So yeah, once you have that, that's when you actually and after, let's say after preparing for 1 to 2 months, start giving lead code contests are very important to give. That will tell you how to basically judge yourself within a time bound situation. So lead code questions, lead code, if you are preparing, during that preparation stage, follow all the advice that I give from the expectation part, which is think out loud, write production ready code and all that. So do that during your preparation stage, because you don't learn that in a day or two. It's a habit that you have to build. So do that during your preparation stage. And also try to prepare within a time situation. Try to keep an alarm clock. If you have a phone, just click make a stop, or like start a stopwatch. If you have a standard stopwatch, which is very hard to find these days, I don't have one. If you have that, keep it in your side and start it at the time of reading the question. Because in an interview, your time starts as soon as you enter the interview, not after your question is read to you. So start from the time of reading your interview, and reading the question, and end that clock only when you have done solved the question and it has been accepted by lead code. This is the time. Take that, note it somewhere. This is how you like, this is the content stuff. Now monitoring stuff. Now make sure that you, whatever you are doing, you are monitoring where you are, where you are going, where were you, where you are now, where are you going, and what is the plan for next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So what do I suggest for that? So what I personally did as well is, first of all, make a Excel, Google Excel, Google Sheet slash Microsoft Excel, whatever. Just make an Excel sheet and write question, solved, date solved, then a level of question, time taken, number of attempts taken. What it means is, first of all, link of the question, to level of the question, then date solved. Like if you are solving it today, write today's date. Then the next stage is time taken. Time taken is that stopwatch time that you take to solve this question. Add that. Number of attempts, how many times did you have to submit it, how many hints did you take, or how many times you have to submit it. So this is what you need to do. Monitor it, and also evaluate yourself on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. Now one more thing, a lot of time what will happen is, you're not able to solve a question, you'll have to take a look at hint, or you'll have to take a look at solution or something. Even if you have to take a look at solution, never look how to code it yourself, so that you build that memory. Secondly, if you have to look at hint or answer, take that link and add it to your future list or like to-do list or revisit list. I used to call it revisit list. So what I did, or what you can do, is like maintain 2 to 3 lists: 7 days revisit, 30 days revisit, and maybe 3 months revisit. So you can do two. I used to do two. So for seven, whenever I look at the question, I will add that to 7 days to do list. After 7 days, I'll come back and solve that question again. Then if I am able to solve, I will put that question in my 30 days to do list, so that after 30 days when I solve it again, I know I can solve this question in any interview now. If I'm not able to solve it in 7 days, okay, go back, add it again, do it again after 7 days. Then if I'm able to solve it but not solve it after 30 days, add it back to the 7 days, repeat the process. This is very important. Now if you're able to solve one question 3 to 4 times, even with the solution, you will be able to memorize that and utilize all those information back in some or the other form. So this is very important. So I'll just repeat myself whatever I've covered. If you are a beginner, focus on your theoretical part first. If you're intermediate, focus on theoretical plus revision part, learn all the basics. If you're an advanced stage, start solving lead code medium level questions at least, and try to monitor yourself every single day. How are you doing? How much time are you taking and all? And whenever you have to take a hint or whenever you have to take a look at the solution, just add it to your revisit list so that you can revisit that question again. So this is my tip for preparing for coding interview. If you have any questions, let me know. Write it in the uh, chat. So Ronak asked how to register for the mock test that you conduct. Okay, so I'll give a brief introduction what it is. So every month we conduct one mock hiring drive where we provide a mock interview free of cost, totally free of cost. So right now we just did it in first week of March. Now it will be somewhere in the April. I post it on my LinkedIn. We post it on TechMaestro's LinkedIn page as well. So do go and follow both my LinkedIn page and TechMaestro LinkedIn page, so that you can stay updated by of the upcoming mock interviews. Now, when how to register, we post it there. We post a Google Sheet slash Google form. So fill the form and we take top whoever is the top. It is first come first serve. So whoever fills it first will be given interview chance first. So we generally have around 30-35 slots. Some we generally stop taking or stop accepting responses after that. But if, let's say, because of night time or time difference between India and here in Britain, so sometimes we get extra responses. If we are not able to do that, we try to accommodate in the next drive. So you can do that. So the next question is, I am here after seeing your LinkedIn post. Hey, hi, thank you, girl who can code. Thank you so much, and it definitely is very helpful for me to know from where I am getting the traffic or the people watching the content. So thank you so much for joining in. Do subscribe to the channel again. Next question is Web3 companies or FANG on the perspective of compensation. So again, I'll come to this in the last of the interview. There are two questions that I have to cover and not related to the context of this live session. Now, one question that I get asked hundreds of time is, what platform should I use to practice my DSA coding interviews? Or, well, I personally used LeetCode. 99% of the questions were done on LeetCode. 1% were done on HackerRank and Geek for Geeks. But I will say, like, whatever suits your style. I liked LeetCode a lot, so I preferred LeetCode. But for contest, I will say go for LeetCode, because in LeetCode, the level of question on LeetCode contest are very relevant. They're not super tough and they're not super easy as well. So for contest, LeetCode. For practicing, you can choose Interview Bit is also good. You can choose LeetCode. You can choose Geek for Geeks, whatever suits you. Just practice it, but do it daily. That's what is more important. Okay. So one more question that I forgot to add in the banner is how to write production ready code. Okay. So one question I initially said, At the last, you have to write good quality or production ready code. First of all, what does production ready code mean? Production ready code basically means, now the name production, in real world, if you are a student, you may not be able to relate it, but in real world, what happens is, when you go to the industry, there are multiple environments. So first is, it depends on company to company, but there are multiple environments. Some, the name may be different, but the feeling or the context is same. So first environment is generally dev is where you can deploy anything. It's you who can experiment any stuff. Then second generally is staging is just before production, everything will come here, integrations will happen, and this is not exposed to the outer public, but this is somewhere like production like environment where you can test everything just before rolling out to production. Production is the environment where you have customer using your product on the server. So this is what production mean. Now production ready code is basically, like you have like I said, there are multiple environment: your local environment, dev, staging, production. Dev staging, basically it means your code reaches in the on user's mobile phone or desktop or in the hand of user after going through multiple stages. It means it is tested on multiple stages. This is what it means. Now, if you have to write production ready code, it means that it should not have any bugs at all in this. Two, it should have maintainability, because you are not the only one in a company working. There are hundreds of people working, tens to 100 to 2000 depending on the size of the company. So there are a lot of people working. So it should be easy to understand. In fact, even you will not be able to understand if it is a messy code after 2 months or so. So maintainability basically means, in a DSA, totally for a context of a DSA interview, maintainability basically means, first, uh, your variable naming, it should not be like XYZ. Random naming should not be given. It is being judged. Every company judge you on the basis of these parameters. So good variable naming, good abstraction, basically taking out functions wherever required. It does not mean you have to take out function for literally every single thing, but it also does not mean you can write everything in the same function. So take out function whenever required. So abstracting out logic in a function. Then testability, I think most of the times there is no possibility to test or unit testability, check unit testability of a code, but there's a concept, unit testability, you can actually check that out. What does it mean? So these are the three parameters. Now, apart from this, like I said earlier, your code should handle all the edge cases. There should not be any assumption. Your code that you have written should be able to handle all the edge cases. If you are writing a function, write that checks again if you have to. Don't assume that this function is getting called from here. It is not going to, basically there is no possibility of this edge case, then this will not happen, and this and that. So try to handle all the edge cases in functions. So this is what production ready code means. And again, while writing or while preparing, practice these things. And this is why I said try to monitor the number of attempts that you have taken, because number of attempts basically means number of bugs you have done during the coding phase. It is very important to do, or like take that number to one. Like very first time whenever you submit, you should be able to submit the code end to end. So this is what it means, and this is very important. Again, I have no word to uh, I don't know how to emphasize more than what I'm doing. So it is really, really, really important to write very good quality code during an interview. This is a make or a break situation. So yeah, moving on to the next part, the last part that I have for the day, which is tips and tricks to ace your interview. So basically what happens is, like I said, there are a couple of things or common mistakes that I will tell you, and same things you can avoid basically becomes a tricks or tips. First of all, people don't think out loud. People try to think in their own silos and not able to communicate well with the interviewer. So think out loud, very important. Two, try to lead interview. Your interviewer should not be poking you to get to know things that you are thinking or anything at all. Try to lead. It does not mean you have to do that, but this is something that will bring a lot of difference uh, in overall feedback. So try to lead the interview. It means you are taking initiative during the interviews. For example, you gave first solution, brute force solution. Okay, I gave brute force solution. The time complexity is n square. Now okay, now let me think, how can I optimize this. Small things will make a huge difference. Then three, when you write code, try to be loud slash think out loud while writing code. This is a trick that I tell every single person, and this will be a very huge time saver, because most of the people write code in their own silos. They don't talk while writing code. And practice this while you write code. If you communicate well, your interviewer will not take a lot of time in going through your code. It will save you at least 5 to 10 minutes. And if you are giving interviews for companies like Google and Facebook, which only give you 45 minutes for two questions, you are going to need those 5 minutes. So while writing code, think out loud. Okay, for loop, I'm writing this for loop because I will be doing this, I will be doing that, and okay, this variable, okay, this variable will be storing this. Okay, I am writing this. Now I'm going to use heap. I'll be pulling this because this will become irrelevant, or this is my answer, this and that, and that's it. So while writing code, if you do follow these things, your interviewer knows by the end of your writing code. If the interviewer is listening, 99% of the time he will be is listening. So if the interviewer is listening, he knows that first part of the code is checking conditions, second part of the code is doing this for loop is for this variable is for this. So this will help him understand the code while you are writing, and he doesn't have to go back and iterate on this entire piece of code again and run his test cases or try run his cases. Now this will save you time. This is a very important trick. So again, you can do that. Then again, I'll repeat. If you don't know this, if you already know the question, don't waste time, or don't waste 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes on route for a suboptimal solution. Go directly to the optimal solution. So these are some tips and tricks that I have in my arsenal that I'll give you, and you can use that. Now I'll open the stage for more questions apart from the two that I have to answer. Do write those questions in the comment, and I'll try to answer to the best of my capacity. Now I'll take questions that I've left. In the meantime, please do subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, click on the like button. Comment down below what was good, what was bad. Do write like what was bad as well, and share it with your friends so that they get to know about the coding interview expectations and how to ace or like tackle the questions. And subscribe to the channel. Okay. Now, Aniket says full stack versus blockchain. What to learn if I'm a final year student and have an offer in hand? Okay. First of all, in my opinion, there is no right or wrong. It depends on who you are, what you want to do. Full stack is also a very good career option. Blockchain is also a very good upcoming career option, is what I've seen. And blockchain is going to be there for a long term. This is my personal opinion, and in fact it's not an opinion, I think it's very well known now. So you can learn anything. Now if you don't know where your interest lies, the best way to know your interest is actually trying out things. One piece of advice that I will give you: no matter what you learn, full stack, blockchain, backend, mobile, anything, whatever you learn, try to build products. Try to see, look at the problems around you, try to build products around it, and actually launch it to the public. Even if 10 people are using it, launch it to the public. At least they will give you feedback, you know how to improve, and that cycle will start. And who knows, like your product may be a hit in one day, and you don't even have to go to that company or join that company that you just have an offer from. So again, full stack, you can do that. Very very highly demand, in very very high demand, this skill. Blockchain, I don't see a lot of startups doing blockchain in India, at least. But I in my feeling is it will be there, it is going to be there for a long term, so you can learn that, and it's an exciting thing. Even I am planning to learn blockchain. I don't know a lot about blockchain, but for learning perspective, it's a really good technology stack, so you can do that. The next question that how to has is Web3 companies or FANG on the perspective of compensation. Okay, now compensation wise, all these companies like FANG or startups or Web3, be it Web3 or conventional internet companies or FANG or anything. So first of all, like FANG became famous because they pay a lot. This is one of the reason. And Web3 companies, there are a lot of good Web3 companies that pay more than almost all these FANG companies. So I will suggest, like, it depends on your perspective. First of all, if it is a startup, the chances that you will get to explore more is relatively high. Two, if you are a junior developer, then you'll get to basically own the stuff much more as compared to FANG companies. Three, you'll get to learn and meet a lot of people. I think this is same for both. For FANG, you'll have a lot of perks and benefits and good setup in FANG companies too. Learning wise also, at least in Facebook, it's really super fast moving company. So I don't compare Facebook with anything else, but other companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft, LinkedIn. So you have to basically give it some time, but you will be learning a lot. You will be going into deep of a lot of things. So learning is there, but it takes a relatively higher time. Not in Netflix and Facebook is what I've heard. So if you are there, I think if you are targeting learning, and if you also need FANG, so go for Facebook or go for Netflix. If you don't mind bad work life balance, Amazon is also one of the choice. In all the three companies that I mentioned, work life balance is relatively bad as compared to other companies like Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Airbnb, and whatnot. So it depends on what you want and how do you want to proceed. But these are my perspective for startup versus or Web3 companies versus FANG. Any other questions, guys? Okay, then we have one more. It feels like I'm good at DSA, but not good at development stuff. Does tech companies train in initial months? So, if you're a fresher, the chances that you'll get proper training time. Training basically means you will be given time and you have to get adjusted and learn yourself. This is what my training has been or was, or like whatever I've experienced. They're not going to give you classes for something. That happens, I think, in Accenture, Ericent or something, but not in decent startups and all. So you will be given time to learn new things, that will be there, but you will not be like hand holded or anything. You'll have to learn that yourself. But that is the fun part, is what I, in my opinion and in my experience as well. So you will be given enough time, you will be given enough opportunities, and you will be given enough resources to learn. All you have to do is just learn that. Believe it or not, if you are in a big company, no matter what you know already, I have 6 years of experience, or before joining Microsoft I had 4.5 years of experience, and I had to relearn, unlearn, relearn every single thing that I knew. So it does not matter where you are, you will have to learn every single time. So that is going to be there. Okay guys, any other question before we end the call? Okay, well, okay, yeah, we have one more. Does portfolio or personal project consider under project experience? Project experience, yes, they does. Like even when you have good experience, I will suggest you at least have one or two decent personal projects, be even if it is 5 years old or 2 years old or 3 years old or whatever. uh, if even if you have your own or experience, do have some project, and yes, they are counted. There is no doubt about that. Any other question? Last 1 minute, if there is any question, guys. Okay, again, thank you so much. First of all, I'll request you again to subscribe on the channel, because 80% of the people just watch the video and don't subscribe to the channel. So do subscribe, share it with your friends, ask them to watch the video of in at least initial part, because it's going to be really helpful for them, and ask them to subscribe to the channel. Also, join the community so that you can learn together, you can grow together with everyone. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next video. Bye bye.